Is Mark Carney the prime minister of missed opportunities? He said during the election that he was going to move with speeds that we've never seen before for big nation building projects to help Canada's economy get going. Well, that alacrity that we were hoping he was going to move with, maybe they're falling short. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Brian Lilley and Lorrie Goldstein. So we heard it during the campaign. Brian, moving at speeds that we've never seen before. Think big, think bold, all those, campaign sloganeering type of commentary we heard from Mark Carney. But these big projects, kind of with a whimper.
Yeah, and look, I'm getting tired of saying it. I'm sure the audience is tired of hearing it from me. I want Mark Carney to do what he said. Think big, act bigger, move at speeds not seen in generations. And this list, they're all fine projects. But none of them really should be on a list that the government has to approve. Well, I mean, outside of, you know, uh, going through the proper channels. But I mean, we've got a major projects office to approve a nickel mine outside of Timmins. I think we know how to mine nickel in Ontario. An LNG export facility in British Columbia, a graphite mine in Quebec, tungsten mine in New Brunswick. Why do these projects need a major projects office and the prime minister being involved in making big announcements? These are the sorts of things that should just be approved, put through the regulations, and should be on the march. We should have a ton of projects like this. Instead, the reason that we're doing this is that, well, successive governments have just dragged their feet. They've made it difficult to get permits and approvals. And so now this is big. Wow. Huge. It's like we're all excited when we found out that Mark Carney shows up to meetings on time and isn't disrespectful because the last PM was so bad that this was newsworthy. This is a yawn. It is a missed opportunity, much like the budget. He oversells, underdelivers, and, I just want him to live up to his word. And if he does, I will be applauding.
I think we all would be. Brian brings up the budget, Lorrie, as a missed opportunity, and Canadians seem to feel the same way, that there isn't really much in this, and the eye-watering deficit is really frustrating Canadians. But that all said, on these major projects, it's not the projects themselves. They're all on their own merit, important and good, and should be noteworthy. But many of them were already announced and moving ahead. So it seems odd that the prime minister would want to. Perhaps he feels he needs to take credit for some of this, that they show that, to demonstrate that they are doing something. But there seems to be something missing here, Lorrie.
Well, look, this is what governments do. They pull, and they know that Canadians are concerned about our trade relationship with the United States. They're concerned about interprovincial trade barriers. They want us to buy from each other inside the country. They want us to have more foreign markets than the United States. And they want us to use the power of government to boost the Canadian economy, which right now is suffering from, and has been for a number of years, low economic growth. And so what governments do is that they hire lobbyists and PR firms to reflect that back to the public. You see, we're concerned about the things you're concerned about. The problem, as Brian and you have both rightly pointed out, is that what's being announced is capital spending. It's nothing new. Governments go all over the country announcing they are going to help establish, with private sector money, new developments, new things that will hire more people. The federal and provincial governments, before Mr. Carney was the prime minister, the Ontario, Quebec, and federal government put $52 billion into the electric vehicle industry, trying to establish an electric vehicle supply chain in Canada. Well, we see how that's working out. And that's the other downside of the equation. When the government picks winners and losers, they're not good at it, and they can't respond to events quickly. Having said that, yes, support for mining, critical mining. If we don't get that, a lot of these critical minerals that we need for all kinds of things, everything from wind turbines to batteries to computers, comes from China, right? So we need to develop that quickly. But you can't. The other problem is that they're going to run into reality. You can pass a law saying that you're going to make these projects move faster, but then you're going to run into court challenges and all the things that always hold up. I mean, look at the things this government did. Well, we should have been doing this a decade ago, developing our natural gas resources, getting pipelines built so we could send those products to international markets, not just the United States, right? But there was a decade lost under the Liberals. So I do want to credit the Prime Minister for it's faint praise. He's better than Trudeau. But having said that, Brian's absolutely right. This is PR. This is churn. It's not really fundamentally going to change anything, including our trading relationship with the United States, which is the most important issue right now, and they don't even want to talk about it.
Well, there's our next issue concern, Brian, of missed opportunities. Lorrie rightly brings up the issue with respect to trade, because we're talking about these big projects in this country to prop up our economy, to kickstart it. Meanwhile, where the United States is fundamentally reshifting theirs, moving with the speed that Carney says he wants to move with. But missed opportunity with Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand at a recent meeting of foreign diplomats in Niagara on the Lake. Marco Rubio was there, the Secretary of State.
Brian,
Anita
Anand
Anand didn't even mention the word trade.
She didn't
discuss trade.
Why would she?
Since
Why would
it's
she,
crazy.
Adrienne? It's not her file. She said she didn't raise it with Marco Rubio because it's not her file. I'm sorry, you are the Foreign Affairs Minister.
They're all your files.
Yeah, he is the Secretary of State for the United States. Cross-border trade. Sure, Dominic LeBlanc is the guy who is supposed to be the point guy on negotiating a deal, but you can still raise it with them. You can talk about how do we get these irritants between our two countries out of the way, because each country is irritated with the other on some trade issues, and that's what you have to deal with. You build a relationship, you talk about it, you try and move forward, and she didn't even try. That is a major missed opportunity. Like, it's gobsmackingly stupid, but Carney's cabinet, like the cabinets of many governments, reminds me of Sir John A. Macdonald's line: if you want me to have a better cabinet, send me better wood. These are the folks that we, the public, elected. He's got to choose from them to make his cabinet. Some of them are just not very good pieces of wood.
Well, there's no question, Lorrie, we've seen successive Liberal foreign affairs ministers who have been terrible. Melanie Joly is on that list, of course. And now we have Anita Anand. And then let's remind our viewers of Anita Anand was the one that retired from politics to spend time with her family, but then suddenly political fortunes were looking good. So she came back, and now she lands herself in this major and significant portfolio. But when you're presented with the very opportunity to deal with the number one issue, all these projects that we just talked about, be damned, the number one issue on trade with our number one trading partner, and she doesn't talk about it?
Can I just throw something in there before Lorrie talks? The tungsten critical minerals mine in New Brunswick, you know who is an equity partner in that? The Department of Defense in Washington, the government of the United States. Yeah. There's an easy in. Hey, we're helping you out on this.
Well, let's be honest, Brian. She probably didn't even know that. But Lorrie, it's really it's shocking that she wouldn't even attempt to say to Secretary Rubio, hey, let's talk about, they sideline, they go on the sidebar and they have their little parlays. Nothing, Lorrie. She talked about Haiti, not unimportant, but not trade.
I mean, I thought Anand originally, to me, was one of the brighter lights. I thought, look, there was a lot of controversy about the vaccines and all that, but she was responsible for procurement, and I thought she did as good a job as you could under the circumstances. But now I think what we're seeing is that, except for a few specific cabinet ministers, I don't think Carney trusts his cabinet. We're hearing a lot of stories about how he's impatient. And like all these stories, well, he's impatient. He wants things done. Good, like good. You want somebody like that in charge. But I think a lot of them are. I think they're afraid. I think they're afraid of running afoul of the prime minister, and so you can either have a cabinet where you trust your cabinet ministers, you send them out, and they speak for the government, right? Or you can have prime ministers, even the guy who delivered the budget, Champagne. Remember what happened originally about when the budget was going to be delivered? Like they said, well, one thing, and then Champagne said, well, we won't have a budget in the fall. We'll have an economic statement. And then suddenly, oh, no, we are going to have a budget in the fall. Well, who did that? That was the PMO and Carney. And the problem is this country is too big for one person alone to run it. And if you don't have confidence in your ministers, you're gonna. There's just too many things all start happening, and I think that's what's happening. And so, what I would prefer is a cabinet where we had not just Dominic LeBlanc, who's sort of the answer to everything and is certainly competent. I mean, I'm not criticizing him, but you want a core of 5 or 6 ministers who confidently speak for the government on a number of issues, and who, in a thing like this, would have said, or the PMO would have said, look, you're going to talk to Rubio, right? He's one of the less crazy ones down there, right? Let's make sure we bring up the issue of trade. Instead, to have the minister palpably afraid of saying anything, it's pretty staggering.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. Okay, Brian, wrap this up for us. And in terms of the big projects that we've talked about, the one that seems to be missing, another missed opportunity, is that of pipelines. Is there anything in the works? What do you know about whether or not this Liberal government is finally going to get out of the way of a pipeline?
Well, I will point out that the natural gas pipeline that's part of the LNG export, the reason that's in this list of projects is it's one that David Eby can support because it's all contained within British Columbia. It's BC natural gas from the northeastern part of the province. He doesn't have to take dirty natural gas from Alberta and put up with, the mud hut brigade of his party protesting over this. He also gets the revenue from it, and the NDP government needs a lot of money because they spend more than they take in. But there is a chance that by this weekend, there will be a memorandum of understanding signed between Premier Danielle Smith and Prime Minister Mark Carney on moving forward to study the a Northwest oil pipeline to the Northwest coast. Carney already has a deal with Doug Ford on one project, one assessment, one decision. That is just, I believe it's being gazetted and going through. So Ford has that. He's happy because that allows them to move forward on Ring of Fire. Smith is hoping for a similar deal on a pipeline. Speaking to our office, they were telling me, yep, we still have hope that could be done this weekend. If not, they believe shortly thereafter. They're not tripping up over each other.
Well, the expectations are high that these projects will get done, but so far, the Liberal government has proven themselves to be full of missed opportunities. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and go to thetorontosun.com. You'll find commentary and coverage there you will not find anywhere else.